It is Tuesday, which of course means it is time for me to answer the questions that you guys send in every single week. My name is, of course, BrendenPlayz, and I am a sick BrendenPlayz still, if you couldn't tell, but I'm soldiering on. I've already missed enough Tuesdays this past couple of weeks and months. I didn't want to miss another one. I am sick, so I do apologize for the voice, but we're going to have to make do with it. And there's a lot to talk about this week on Raw, so I really wanted to get into this week's Raw and dive into your questions because there is so much to talk about. So much happened after Raw, so many talking points, so I was very, very excited to do Let's Talk Tuesday this week, so I didn't want to miss it. So, let's get straight into your questions. The first question is from Bailey14. What do you think about Daniel Bryan keeping his career going? Also, who will win the Rumble, Reigns or Bryan, and who will they face? Well, this is the big talking point of Monday Night Raw. Daniel Bryan is back, and he will be at the Royal Rumble. Look, I'm not the biggest Daniel Bryan fan. I've said this before. I do like him, but I wouldn't put him in my top 5, top 10, or anything like that. But it is good to see him back. It's good to see him get a big reaction as well. I mean, he got a huge ovation when, he said that he was going to be at the Royal Rumble, and I had goosebumps, man. I was thinking, oh man, is he going to retire? I didn't think he would. I thought 80% chance he's going to say he's going to be at the Rumble, or maybe he might say my injury's gone a little bit longer, I'm going to have to be out for another year. I thought something like that. I didn't think he would retire. Obviously, there was a chance, so I was a little worried, but when he said, look, I'm going to be at the Royal Rumble, I thought, wow, this is going to be awesome, and it has shaken up the Royal Rumble. So now, we've gone from the possible winners of the very unlikely winner of Dolph Ziggler, possibly Dean Ambrose. Then again, I still think the booking of him lately would be ridiculous for him to win the Royal Rumble right now. And then Roman Reigns. So is it going to be Roman Reigns or Daniel Bryan? They're really the only two guys that I can see winning this thing, unless, I pull a swerve and fucking John Cena wins somehow. I don't know. It's possible. Or even Randy Orton, who knows. But the two realistic guys to see winning this is Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns. I've said it for a long time. I felt as though Roman Reigns was going to be the man, but you think about it right now that you have a healthy Daniel Bryan, I think Bryan's the safer choice. I think Bryan will be the Royal Rumble winner. If he is not just back for a one-off because he's just medically cleared, because you think about it, working the Royal Rumble match is a lot easier than working a 30-minute WrestleMania main event. He could be okay to come back for the Royal Rumble for a 5-minute match. He can come in, hit his big moves, have his big comeback, get taken down, and sit in the corner for 5 minutes, and then, finish off the match strong against whoever will be in the Final Four. And by the way, guys, leave your Final Four predictions in the comment section down below. I'm interested to see. We had the discussion over in the forums. I'm going to say I think it's going to be Sheamus. Unfortunately, I'm going to say Big Show, Roman Reigns, and Daniel Bryan, because I think you got to throw a heel in there somehow. I was going to say Rusev, but I feel as though Rusev will get eliminated early. Anyways, I digress. I think Daniel Bryan is the safer choice because you saw him main event WrestleMania 30. He did a great job. He killed WrestleMania. He owned WrestleMania. He was WrestleMania 30. He made the show. Now, did it do that well in the buy rates? You can't tell because, you had the WWE Network subscriptions, which were very good at the time. They've obviously slipped well away. The subscriptions are well down right now. So, would it be risky putting Daniel Bryan in the main event again? I don't think so. I think Daniel Bryan, with the reaction he got tonight, and he continues to get a decent reaction when he comes out for his random appearances, I think suggests he's still quite heavily over. The only concern would be his health. If he's 100% at WrestleMania 30, you'd be pretty dumb not to put him in the main event. I think the fans are going to want to see it. And I think if Bryan, now that he's in the Royal Rumble, if he gets eliminated and Roman Reigns goes on to win, it could be a Batista 2014 situation again, which was just an absolute disaster. Nobody wants to see that again. I'm a big Reigns fan. I'm not a huge fan of Bryan, but I'd be happy to see him main event again. Now, would it be Bryan versus Cena, Bryan versus Rollins, or Bryan versus Lesnar? All three sound great, but I would probably want to see Bryan versus Lesnar, although I feel as though it's a very unrealistic matchup. I've said this in the past. If it is Bryan and Lesnar, can you really believe Daniel Bryan beating Brock Lesnar? No, you can't. but it'll be a great underdog story, and you know, perhaps he can overcome it at WrestleMania and beat the Beast somehow, get his ass kicked absolutely through the whole match, but find a way to win. Great underdog story, so you could really kind of build towards WrestleMania like that, and WrestleMania is that feel-good moment. But you never know, it could be all taken away from him very, very quickly again, and I'll get into that later on. But Royal Rumble, very, very exciting. Now you got this new dynamic. It's up in the air. I'm looking forward to the match. I don't know who's going to win. I can't tell you. But right now, my prediction is Daniel Bryan. I think it feels though Roman Reigns, his reactions aren't strong. You know, his promo, his ring work, I don't feel he's quite ready yet. I feel as though if you pull the trigger on him at SummerSlam, it'd be better for him. Won't be as big of an occasion. But I think you'll get the better out of Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns won't embarrass himself at WrestleMania in front of 80,000. I think he could do a better job at SummerSlam. Or if you want to wait a whole year and keep building him for 32 and pull the trigger then you never know. That probably might be the best for business in the long run. This next one is from Bashka. Do you think Bo Dallas's gimmick should be changed when he returns? No, I don't think so. I think Bo Dallas's gimmick was working quite well. The fact of the matter was that they had R-Truth versus Bo Dallas, and you had R-Truth, a 42-year-old veteran who basically loses every single week, has no business really beating a streak or overcoming younger talent. He should be losing to them, and I'm an R-Truth fan. I feel as though he's a great worker, he's done everything right, but he's at that stage in his career where it's time for him to give back. So why they let R-Truth beat Bo Dallas' streak on a random Raw match for no good reason? It amounted to nothing. There was no feud, there was no build-up, no nothing. You had Bo Dallas' streak ended like that, and they just seemed to stop caring. He just lost every week from then on, and they stopped pushing him. I don't know why. This is the thing with the WWE. It's the same with Cesaro. You got guys are getting over, they're getting reactions. Bo Dallas was starting to work, starting to get there. Cesaro, huge reactions, you know, started to build a huge amount of steam after WrestleMania. You know, the crowd were loving him, and then they just squash it, and now they lose every week after every week. You know, they don't give him the mic. You know, it's just, how can they really expect anybody to grab the brass ring when they're not given the chance? You know, you got to give guys more than 2 months to become a superstar. You're not going to make The Rock overnight. In fact, The Rock took him a long time. He started as Rocky Maivia, and he had a rough start, but you knew he was good enough to overcome it. So if Bo Dallas is going to be anything, he's still very, very young. I think he's only 22, 23, so he's very young, so has plenty of time left. If he's going to be something, he's got plenty of time to make something out of himself. But it's difficult to create stars when you don't give them the right chance. They're doing that with Roman Reigns. They are giving him all the chances in the world. Seth Rollins is a similar situation as well. So that's a case of that. Yes, they booked those guys right. They're giving them all the opportunity they can get to become a top star. But when you do stupid things to Dallas, Cesaro, who knows, maybe Rusev will have his winning streak broken by El Torito or something dumb like that. You never know with the WWE. They'll do something stupid and just kill these guys. You know, if you're going to do shit like that, just release them, for God's sake. Just because you basically are killing their career. And I feel as though Bo Dallas was starting to work well. You know, I think when he comes back, he can continue doing the gimmick, and I think he'll just pick up where he left off. Hopefully they start pushing him again, and, you know, he amounts to something. Because he's got a bit of talent. He's not my favourite or anything, but I was starting to like the character. This next question is from MButt75. What do you think about the Authority being back? This is one of the dumbest things that happened on Raw. In fact, this is one of the dumbest things that happened in 2014. So you had the Authority. They've been gone for, what, 6 weeks? Really? So in 6 weeks, we've gone without the Authority because Triple H has to be on Raw every week cutting a 25-minute fucking promo. He's got to be back in 6 weeks' time. Now, I like Triple H. You know, he's my favorite wrestler of all time, or one of my favorites. But 6 weeks, really? I guess the only excuse would be you start building towards Sting and Triple H, but couldn't you keep them off TV a little longer and maybe bring Triple H on in a different manner without being in charge, perhaps? I personally would have done Seth Rollins versus John Cena down the line, like at WrestleMania, Fastlane, something like that. You keep it going. But, you know, just to have him give in like that over Edge, like, who really cares? I mean, Edge is the guy that Cena had a fucking year-long rivalry with. I mean, why does Cena really care? And my God, that segment was horrible. I mean, it just dragged on forever, and the Authority all of a sudden come back, and they were just ready to go. They had their champagne ready to go, lined up, which made no sense either. Couldn't he wait for a week to bring them back again instead of coming out straight away? So I thought the Authority were meant to be in their offices at Stanford, at Connecticut, and working a desk job. Instead, they're piped up, ready to go instantly when they're announced to come back out. Ridiculous. So I think that was absolutely asinine. They should have waited a couple more months at least before bringing back the Authority. So too soon, and yeah, just dumb. But hey, it means we don't get the guest host crap anymore, which is always nice. So this is a bit of a continuation of what I was just talking about. Gamer9912, after Cena finishes his feud with Lesnar, what do you think his next path of next feud would be? Well, I would continue doing what he's doing with Seth Rollins. I think the problem with this right now is they've had Seth Rollins versus John Cena way too many times. They should have had them face maybe once. But it seems as though we get it every single week, so Seth Rollins versus John Cena on a pay-per-view means absolutely nothing, because we've already seen it that many times. This is the problem with the WWE's booking right now, because they have no roster depth. They have to keep doing the same matches every single week, and that's their own problem. That's their own bad booking. But I personally would have had Cena lose at the Rumble, and then you have a multi-man match at Fastlane, whether it's the Elimination Chamber match or not, I don't know, and you have Seth Rollins and John Cena being involved in that, and then you have Seth Rollins versus John Cena at WrestleMania. If Rollins wins, the Authority comes back. Pretty simple. They've already got this feud. They've already got something to feud about. And then you would have Seth Rollins and Cena at WrestleMania. And if Rollins wins, then you get the Authority back. So why not wait and have a big moment happen at WrestleMania, which is, the whole point of the show. And then I personally would have Seth Rollins cash in later that night on Daniel Bryan. Because what better way to get a heel reaction than to cash in? First time Money in the Bank's ever cashed in at WrestleMania and cash it in on Daniel Bryan. I personally think that's going to happen. If Rollins doesn't cash in at Royal Rumble, he's not going to cash in at all until WrestleMania. And if you have Bryan versus Lesnar, then you can get away with Seth Rollins cashing in. You get the big feel-good Daniel Bryan moment. Then you have Seth Rollins spoil it. And then you also have a new rivalry for Daniel Bryan to go onto past WrestleMania, assuming that Lesnar's probably going to leave for UFC. So, makes pretty good sense to me. And great way for Seth Rollins to cash in, huge moment, and it's much better than cashing in on Roman Reigns in my opinion. But anyways, move on to the next question. Okay, we'll run through these ones quickly. Dunstan2K, what do you think about Bad News Barrett return, and do you think he'll have a successful run as a face? Well, I don't know if he's a face yet, because you can't really give bad news out and be a baby face. So we'll have to wait and see the direction of his character right now. I think they're kind of testing the waters, seeing how he goes. I think he was going to get a decent reaction anyways. So they put him up against Cesaro, because who else? You have to have Cesaro lose every week, right? He needs to to learn his lesson for whatever reason. So look, okay return. I think having him return in a live event kind of spoiled it. So I personally probably might have waited to the Royal Rumble for him to return. I don't know, but yeah, not too bad. This next one's from Bailey14. What do you think about the Ascension debut? Look, they're very gimmicky. Road Warriors rip-off, the Headbangers, you name it. They're a bit of a rip-off from some older tag teams. Got the face paint going, the screaming, I wish I could do Oh What a Rush right now, but I would sound dreadful. I already sound bad enough as it is, so I'm not even going to try and bother. But yes, very Road Warriors-like. But personally, I like the music. I think it looks okay. I think they look okay. They were okay in the ring. So I'm going to give it some time before I really criticize it or, give some positive feedback. But so far, it has some potential. I feel as though they're going to push them strong, and I think they should. So looking forward to seeing what they do next. This next one's from BXS Animations. Who do you think will return in the Royal Rumble? Now, this is probably going to be a big talking point about the Royal Rumble in the next coming weeks, but I would say at the moment, Sheamus is a definite. I think Rob Van Dam's a definite. Sting would be a dark horse as well. I think he's a possibility. I just don't see them making him come out for the Rumble. So I would say he's a dark horse. If Randy Orton's not back before the Royal Rumble, I think he's definitely going to be in there. So that's a lot of current day superstars coming in. Some legends, that's always hard to kind of gauge, you know, it's really who's on good terms and who's somewhat healthy enough to come out for a minute or two. So maybe we might have someone like Booker T come out. I'd like to see Booker in there for a couple of minutes. He's always a treat, and have him do the spinneroonie and whatever, that'd be cool. It's not going to be Kevin Nash, I can tell you that. So yeah, I don't know who's going to exactly be the surprise return, so that's why it's a surprise, you never know. So hopefully we get a couple of legends in there. I think they've really been a little bit kind of lackluster in recent years for the surprises. I think we're going to have some NXT guys in there as well, so expect a bit of an NXT invasion in the Royal Rumble, which may take up some of those returns that we might have seen. Today's final question is from Poi You Dust. I probably said that terribly wrong, I apologize. If Edge could get one more match, well, this is, you know where this one's going. Somehow, who would you like it to be against? Well, it's got to be Christian, doesn't it? It's got to have one last match against Christian. I don't think... Do they really have a proper rivalry? I wasn't really watching around the time. I believe they were going to go in that direction and have Christian beat him. But, of course, Edge had to announce his retirement. We never got there. So, Edge versus Christian, a big rivalry, a big match. Would have loved to have seen it. Makes perfect sense. Best friend against best friend. Personal rivalry. Would have been great. Great in-ring chemistry, former tag team partners, you name it. Writes itself. Would have been fantastic. Okay guys, that will do it for today's edition of Let's Talk Tuesdays. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope I wasn't too bad in today's episode. Should be fine for the next week, I can tell you that. Hopefully I'm feeling better. So thanks to everyone who has sent their nice little messages and tweets into me this week. Okay, so if you want to leave a question for next week's episode, please do so by leaving a comment in the comment section down below. As well as that, tell me your final four for the Royal Rumble. Very interested to see, very interested to know. And of course, you can leave your questions over at the forums, BrendenPlayz.com/forums. The link to that will be in the description down below. Thanks guys for watching this week's Let's Talk Tuesdays. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you all next video. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Thanks guys.